So this is the next project, and this is actually a commission that I am doing for Russell over in Australia. So it's kind of cool that one of my pieces is going to be going to a whole nother country. So before I start getting carried away and just start carving and painting and doing all that stuff, somebody asked if I was going to do a video, a YouTube video on the construction of this. So I figured, you know, why not? I mean, I've kind of already have the it's all magnetized and it's supported and standing. Don't need, well, except for this part, I'm not going to touch it, but that's going to be the back wall. So there's a rooftop. So we're going to have a couple of windows there. It's going to be a doorway here. There's going to be a smaller kind of brick wall, cement and brick wall here. So that'll be the rooftop. I wanted to, you know, I like making my dioramas that are, you can use them in a lot of different ways and maximize them for countless pictures. So, you know, I'll put a door here. And this is a little corner where somebody could be hiding, trying to get the drop on somebody. You know, the wall will be here. This is what the back of the dial looks like. So this piece here will be glued together. Then I'm going to put a piece here that you won't see, but this is the support. And I may even throw some screws on the other side of this. But this is just, will be like one, you know, you can see kind of the, but that'll be one piece and then another piece here. And then what I'll do is I'll throw a couple of magnets here and here, so that'll pop right on. And then I have a plan for this little wall, so it'll be magnetized as well. Somebody asked about hiding seams. How do you hide seams? And I have no idea how to hide seams. So, you know, I'm honestly fairly new to making dioramas, less than a year, so I'm learning as I go. But in this particular case, I thought the best way to hide the seam, I mean, first of all, I cut this a little. When I sliced this, I went at an angle and I shouldn't have. So now I have to somehow fix that and make it look like it's just part of the building. And that'll be pretty easy, as it's going to be have a weathered look at the end of it. So in this particular case, the way I'm hiding the seams, as you can see, major gap here. And then what I'll do is I'll run my pencil a little deeper through here, so it looks like these two gaps are matching, and they're separated by this part, which is just like a cement colored piece up and down. This will be obviously brick red. So that's how I cover those seams. And then in terms of these seams here, I'll probably do the same technique here, where I'll just have this kind of like a cement and then the brick. And then over here in this particular corner, I'm gonna throw a pipe, electricity pipe, and maybe a panel here or something like that. So obviously you want to make it as cohesive as possible. This particular diorama is going to be used with another set, so I'm really hoping I already sent Russell the measurements, so he knows what he's looking at, but I really hope that it works out with the other piece. That's going to be more of a street level piece. Yeah, man, this is kind of, man, it took me a while to really figure this out, put it in my head. You know, this is one of the few pieces I did not do any research, literally did no research. I looked at not one picture of a rooftop. But just because of the dial structure group, you know, a bunch of rooftops have been created, so it gives me that visual idea. And what I wanted to do is do something a little bit different. Most of the rooftops I've seen, this particular wall is dipped in here, you know, on the other side. Or let me go over here and explain it. So this wall is lower, it's about here. So what people do is use this as, you know, kind of that small balcony type wall by lowering this, which is obviously a dope move. And I think I could have done it even magnetized and it would have worked out. I wanted to do something a little different, so decided to do it this way instead. I'm pretty sure I could have done the other way and then kind of stuck a piece out, glued it here. But again, I was just trying to make it as comfortable as possible to break down, because that's the other thing. The reason I have the ruler next to it is because that is a 2-foot ruler. This is about 27 inches tall. It is almost 2 feet across. So and I think it's about 12 inches deep. So it's a pretty massive diorama. The great thing about it And I'm gonna do it now real quick, and I'll probably do it at the end of the video or at the end of the process, but because you'll see it. But the great thing about this diorama is, again, that wall will be connected, but the whole thing is magnetized. So you take it apart, and when you stack it together, you are looking at, I had originally thought it was 7 inches, but it's going to be under 7 inches once it's broken down. So from, it loses 20 inches, and it's because it's magnetized, it just comes right back together, which is probably one of the most amazing things about this this whole dial making thing for me. Is always trying to be creative in terms of making it collapsible, and so that you can just put it away. Obviously, to build as many dials as I've built so far, and if they weren't of this style, then I couldn't hold them all. I mean, I luckily they all stack up like this for me, and that's always the goal in designing it, is trying to figure out and I'll just put like a Poland Spring bottle just for comparison, but breaks down pretty tight, easy to ship, easy to store, easy to put back together. And when I do have pieces, like I'm going to have this one where it's going to be glued, so that's going to be permanently like that, which I usually don't do. I'm going to try my best to support it, obviously in the shipping, but support it so that when he puts it away, by having that extra support, as I explained when it was up, when he puts it away, it'll still be, it won't break or fall apart. And I'm going to use some high heat glue gun, maybe a couple of screws to support it as much as possible. And obviously at the end of the process, I sprayed down with acrylic protector, so sealant rather. So I do that, and that definitely strengthens the whole piece a little bit. So yeah, man, I'm excited, and I think the next step of this particular video, and I think I'll just do instead of having like a part 1 and part 2 like I did with the progression so far, I was able to install the windows and put some balsa wood inside just to give it a neater look. Install the door, and now I am currently working on the floor has been carved out. Let's see it. Sorry, floor has been carved out, walls have been carved out. I just gotta give it that same effect there at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is, been trying to think of the best possible way to use the magnets going forward, as everything right now is magnetized, as I showed in the last video. The top isn't magnetized yet. So my dilemma was putting magnets, more magnets hidden here, here, and then this wall, which will have the extension there, this piece. Kind of do the same thing, but the more I thought about it, the more I figured that I would use probably more magnets than what I wanted to. So what I'm going to do instead is the side walls will be magnetized. So there'll be a magnet there, a magnet there, then that little side wall. Do the same thing on the other side. So this piece won't be, it won't be magnetized down. It will be held together by the 2 little side walls, which works just fine. Also gives the option of taking off everything up top and not having any magnet marks or any built-in magnet, so you can kind of give it another feel in your pictures and when it comes to toy photography. What I always try to do is, and again, I know I've explained this a bunch of times, but I know not everybody watches all of my videos, so it may be new info to some and old to others, but every time I do one of these pieces, the goal is to get as many different pictures as to make it as reusable as possible. I don't want to make a dial that's pretty straightforward and then you can't do much. Here you can do so much in terms of hanging Spider-Man down or what have you, and then up here again, kind of the option of hiding behind this particular door, and then this is going to be a little corner here, so somebody can hide there, just to give it some different, again, different options. This back piece, I already did this part. So what I did here is I glued it, and then I used a very long, one of these screws actually. So I had two of these from a prior dial, one of my first dials that I actually took apart because it was horrible, and used it for parts. So this particular screw was put in there to secure that, as that won't be collapsible. And then what I'll do is I'll take this other screw, glue there, use that screw there. I'll have to hide the screw with some, you know, I'll glue some bits of foam piece just to kind of hide it. But what it does is that it secures this piece, because again, this piece is not going to be collapsible. So my fear is that when you do store it away, you can't collapse it, and it has that edge so that something can easily break it off if you're not, you know, if you're not careful. So having the glue gun, the tacky glue, and the screw gives it three ways of, you know, three support systems. So hopefully it won't snap apart. And I feel pretty confident that it's gonna be fine. All right, man, so that's where I'm at. Still trying to debate what I'm gonna do on the windows. I was thinking about some bars, but I don't want it to look like a jail, so I just do a steel grate. I was gonna do some abandoned type windows, but it doesn't make sense as this is up higher towards the top of this building, so it would be weird for you to board up windows that high, as who can climb that high. But again, this is just if you're taking the picture like this, where you're gonna make it look like it's a, you know, taller building. Obviously it's not humongously tall, but it's supposed to be a rooftop. So just going with that effect. I may board up the windows. I don't even know, man. I'm just taking it moment by moment and trying to figure it out as I go along. All right, this is progress. So the final paint job besides the airbrushing is applied, and definitely happy with the way it came out. The one thing that I actually really like about this particular diorama is the fact that the top is not connected. It's not sucked down by magnets. So pretty much you can take off the entire top and just work just with the rooftop without the back wall, which is kind of cool. Again, the little corner there, so you can make it multi-use. Removing this makes it multi-use. You can do some pictures using the inside of the windows as well, so it makes it one of those dioramas you can use for many type of pictures. So the last step is going to be the airbrushing, and that will take the floor and give it that kind of that weathered look, as well as the pillars and some of the bricks and so forth and so on. Alright, man, so this is it. Okay, so I am done, officially done with this diorama. This was a commission job for Russell, a.k.a. Nintendo Ninja, as he goes by on Instagram. Last night I was able to airbrush some of the brick to give it kind of that weathered type feel. Also did the floor as well, and the back of the balcony walls. Got the treatment. This is the behind the scenes look. Painted these two walls so that when you look inside the windows from the other side, you wouldn't see pink. So if you're taking a picture with an action figure in there, you're gonna see that black as opposed to a pink wall. The beautiful thing about this is that it breaks down. It's modular and it breaks down pretty compact. And also you have the option of using the roof without this piece. So what I'll do is I'm gonna take it apart so you get an idea of what it looks like with just the top part. Sorry about that. So that's just it. Just if you wanted to use a rooftop, gives you more space for more scenes. And then the final breaking apart is taking off the floor, side walls, and then once you've taken everything apart and you stack it up, it stacks up pretty compact. So it can be put away, and it doesn't have to be permanently up, and that's a great thing when space in almost anyone's home is always not in abundance necessarily. All right, y'all, so I hope y'all liked it, and this is it. On to the next one. Peace.